A lot of people will say to me, does a root canal hurt? I heard they're pretty terrible. I heard they're even worse than an IRS audit. Well, can't speak to the IRS audit, but what I can tell you is that most patients don't experience discomfort when they have the root canal procedure performed. In fact, I've had plenty of patients literally fall asleep while I've done root canal for them. But then you might think, well, I've heard such terrible things about root canal and how painful it is. And why is this guy saying that root canal is not painful? Well, because if we think about it, root canal became a common practice in the 1950s, so quite a number of years ago. And back then, when we started to do root canals on a regular basis to help people save their teeth, we ran into some issues. First of all, anesthetics were terrible back then. We talk about Novocaine, it was awful, or non-existent. Then we think about, well, what has to happen during a root canal? We have to go in there, we have to get access to the nerve. So we have to drill a hole in the tooth in order to do that. But wait a second, in the 1950s, we only had those drills that felt like jackhammers to go in there. And then we had to use those. So imagine it like this. You're in pain because your tooth is hurting you and it needs a root canal. You go into the dentist who has a lousy anesthetic, and then he has to go in, and after you've been poorly numbed, has to turn around and use something that feels like a jackhammer until he can get down to the nerve and remove it from your tooth. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty darn painful. And that is where root canal's bad rap came from. So nowadays, we have high-speed drills, we have great anesthetics, and a lot of different techniques to help make sure that you're numb and comfortable for this procedure. When you think about it, if a tooth is so badly damaged that it needs a root canal, the only alternative is to remove the tooth if you don't do the root canal. So it's important to recognize, while it doesn't sound like a fun procedure, doing a root canal is a great way to keep your natural tooth in your mouth.